Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Arafat mujeeb from FEI Higher Secondary Institute. I am with chapter number 12. Chapter is light and it is science 8th class. And in this chapter light, I will discuss today in this the concept of light, laws of reflection. ये मेरे टॉपिक्स रहेंगे इस चैप्टर में, और भी कंटेंट्स आएंगे. और this chapter include in your term second examination. And now let us study about the concept of light, how we define the light. लाइट क्या होती है? लाइट तो उर्दू में कहते हैं रोशनी, जिसके बदौलत से हम जो इर्द गिर्द हमारे इर्द गिर्द चीज़ें होते हैं तो हम उनको देख पाते, चाहे छोटी चीज़ें हो बड़ी चीज़ें, उनके अच्छी तरह से देख पाते, और उनमें क्या कलर है, क्या शक्ल है, क्या किस तरह साइज में, बिल्कुल हम अपने आई से वो देख पाते हैं. We can see the things all around us with the help of our eyes or our sense organs, which help in seeing and observing the things all around us. Because of the light, things becomes visible to us. And how, in what way, in a science point of view, how we define the concept of light. This is a form of energy. We can define it as this is a form of energy that enables us to see things around us. लाइट क्या है? लाइट एक फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी है. एनर्जी comes in various form, in the form of heat, in the form of light, in the form of vibration, in the form of kinetic energy, in the form of potential energy, mechanical energy as well. They comes in different forms. In the same way, light is a form of energy. It is a form of energy that enables our eyes to see the things around us. Is the light. Now this light is a form of energy. It travels by the source and make the things visible to us. When this light falls onto that objects and they reflect some part of light, they reflect all the light, and these reflected rays enter into our eyes, then enables us to see that object becomes visible to us, and then we are able to see those things. Then we can say the light जो है, it is sources. If we talk about the sources of light, we have the two sources of light. One is the luminous sources. Other is the non-luminous sources. Non-luminous sources of light. Luminous sources of light हो गया, for example, you take them in major sun, stars. That means these are the luminous. उन्हीं को कहा जाता है, उन sources को कहा जाता है which have their own light and they make the things visible to us. Sun is the major source of light, as light comes from the sun, solar light, and stars, etc. are also example of the baki वगैरह इसमें. These are the natural sources of natural luminous sources of light. Non-luminous sources of light is that I talk about the moon, our earth, and we can say the candle. We can say these are non-luminous sources of light, as they don't have their own light, but when the sunlight falls on these objects, moon, earth, yeah, other planets. And candle, when we burn candle, then it's thought to provides a light. That means they don't have it own light. When a light falls on them, they become bright to us, then they become visible to us, then they actually emit that emit that part of light, and they becomes the visible. ऐसे लगता है जैसे कि इनकी अपनी रोशनी है, असल में इनकी अपनी रोशनी नहीं होती है. They illuminate us, चमकते हैं because of the sunlight, because of the other source, but because of the other sources. They are known as the non-luminous. So that means light has two sources, luminous or non-luminous sources. If we go about to some properties of light, properties of light. What is the properties of light? Light always travel in a straight line, in a straight path. That means it has a rectilinear property. It travels in a rectilinear path. Rectilinear path क्या होता है? That means it travels in a straight line. It never bounce. It never have up and down movement. It always travel in a straight manner, in a straight way. Our जो हम जब हमें कोई चीज़ देखना होता है, we look straight forward, and हमें straight forward सब कुछ दिखाई देता है. अगर दीवार के पीछे कुछ होगा, those things becomes इनविजिबल टू अस, क्योंकि हमारा लाइट वहाँ दीवार के बाद बाउंस नहीं कर सकती है. नॉट गो अपवर्ड, देन वी कैन ऑब्जर्व बिहाइंड द वॉल, बिहाइंड द ओपिक अदर ओपिक सबस्टेंस. इट इज इम्पॉसिबल दैट बिकॉज आवर लाइट ऑलवेज ट्रैवल इन अ स्ट्रेट पाथ. आपने 7th क्लास में एक्सपेरिमेंट किया होगा, क्या इस चीज को प्रूव किया होगा कि light has a rectilinear property. That means it travels in a straight path, in a straight line. This is the property of the light. Another property of the light is that second property, it travels at a speed of 3 into 10 raised power 8 मीटर पर सेकंड. ये किस स्पीड में ट्रैवल होती है? That is 3 into 10 raised power 8 meter per second. It is the second property of light. This, or we can say in kilometer per hour. That means 3, then it becomes the value. अगर हम इसमें ये मीटर पर सेकंड में है, अगर हमें किलोमीटर पर आवर में निकालना हो, then obviously approximately 3 into 10 raised power 5 kilometer per hour is it is then speed. It travels at a high speed, at a high rate in the media, in the space, and it does not, it is independent of the medium. It does not take for the travel from from source to the consumer. Light never take the help of the material medium, water, air. It travels independently. Light travels independently. याद रखिए. That means it travels. Third part is it travels independently. Independently क्या होता है? मतलब it does not take the help of any medium या एयर, वाटर, सॉलिड मटेरियल का सहारा नहीं लेते हैं. ये इंडिपेंडेंटली ट्रैवल करता है. आपको पता है जो सन से लाइट आती है, कुछ हमारा स्पेस जो होता है वो वैक्यूम होता है, एम्प्टी स्पेस होती है, वहाँ कोई मटेरियल मीडियम नहीं होता है, तो लाइट वहाँ से भी ट्रैवल होती है. नहीं तो मीडियम नहीं होता, नहीं तो मटेरियल कोई मीडियम नहीं होता है. वहाँ जो एक्सोस्फीयर पार्ट ऑफ द एटमॉस्फेयर है, दैट इज डिवाइड ऑफ एनी मटेरियल मीडियम, स्टिल द लाइट इंडिपेंडेंटली ट्रैवल फ्रॉम द सन एंड रीच टू द अर्थ सरफेस. दैट मीन्स इंडिपेंडेंटली क्या होता है? does not take help of any material medium. मटेरियल मीडियम का सहारा नहीं लेता है, लाइक द एयर, चाहे वाटर की बात हम कर लेंगे या कोई सॉलिड मैटर की बात हम कर लेंगे, it does not take the. Now we go to the other properties regarding the light, that लाइट जो है फोर्थ प्रॉपर्टी हम इसमें स्टडी कर लेंगे. When the light is blocked, when its path is blocked, it comes from the source and we block it, then it gives a shadow. When the substance is, when it is blocked by opaque material, that means it gives a shadow. It gives a shadow on blocking. On blocking it is path of traveling. This path of, अगर हम इसकी path of traveling जो है, if we block, it gives a shadow. On blocking it is path of, on blocking it is path of traveling, it gives a shadow. Then we can say path of traveling is blocked by any opaque material. Opaque material आपको पता ही होगा क्या होता है. Opaque material, that means opaque materials are those materials that our body is opaque, it does not allow the light to pass through it. Yeah, our hand is opaque, our paper, wall, books, various things are cardboard. This board is opaque material, the light is not traveling through it, is not passing through it. Opaque substance, वही मटेरियल, ओपेक मटेरियल जब भी ये ब्लॉक करता हो, if any time it blocks the path of traveling the light, they give the formation of shadow. Now we move ahead, that on the basis of the light we can categorize some material objects, can be categorized on the basis of light. Some materials can be categorized into some materials are, I will write it by the black pen, are transparent. आपको पता ही होगा. Second, some materials are translucent. शाबाश. Some materials are opaque. अभी मैंने कहा opaque. These on the basis of light to pass through them. इस पॉइंट के बिना पे हमने मटेरियल्स को क्लासिफाई किया है ट्रांसपेरेंट, ट्रांसल्यूसेंट, ओपेक. फॉर एग्जांपल में आएगा ट्रांसपेरेंट में, you have a window pane glass, transparent. You have a clear water is that transparent. You might have seen in the laboratory prism, glass slab, other are the transparent. There are a lot of examples. Your spectacle is the transparent, so the light should pass through it. Transparent, translucent or those material. ट्रांसपेरेंट होता है वो मटेरियल जिसमें बिल्कुल all the light rays passes through it, and all the light passes through it is known as a transparent material. It forms no shadow. इसका shadow नहीं बनता है transparent material का. Examples are few: glass, clear water, prism in a lab. Then another translucent means some partial amount, part of amount is passing through it. That means you can take the example of ground glass. You can take the example of polythene. Another few examples are there. Polythene, translucent. You can take the example of the the butter paper, translucent in nature. And then third, I mentioned it here, opaque or the cardboard. You can take cardboard. You take the body, human body. You take our blood is the opaque material. You take the wall, brick wall. You take the example of the brick wall. Here few examples, there are a lot of examples of the opaque material. Opaque material are those material we don't allow any light to pass through it, known as the opaque. Translucent, or once again I tell you, some part of light passes through such materials. You also have read them in the previous classes, in elementary classes, about the different materials. Now by the light, because of the light, how that things becomes visible, I will show you here by a diagram how things become visible because of the light. You see here, this is the sunlight. How things become how things become visible to see. You say that it is the sun, and there is the light rays coming from the sun. This is the light rays. Sun is the major source of, it is the sun, major source of light. Here on the ground surface, you see that on the ground surface, there is on the ground surface, you take this object on the ground surface, and this is the object here on the ground surface. It is the tree here. Now light rays are coming from the source of light. Here you can say light rays. How things becomes actually the visible. How things becomes visible. Light comes here. The light will come here. Will it hear me? Diagram. After the light rays fall on this object, and then after falling, there is a reflection of light rays coming from the source. Here is the reflection by the surface of the object. Here is the reflection after striking. There is reflection of light. There is the reflection of light. When there is reflection of light, these are the reflected light rays. They enters into our observer's eyes. It is the eye here. It is the eye here. Eye is a sense organ which is work is to see objects. These light rays then enter into our eyes. Then we have able to see the object, what the object is. That means because of the light, things becomes visible on the ground surface with the help of eyes. These reflected rays, these are the reflected rays of light. They enters into our eyes, and there is a retina where the image formation takes place. Then there is a perception take place, processing in the brain. Then with the help of our brain, after processing, we see then actual what the things are, what the color is of, what the thing is. Then it is a tree here. Then it is because our sense organs, that is eye is one of the sense organ. It is connected with the nervous system. That means connected with the optic nerves to the brain, and brain after processing give the information back what you have actually seen in the surrounding. Then because of the light, the reflected rays, what are these? These are the incident rays. These are the incident rays. These are incident rays of these are incident rays of light coming from the source. This is the source of light. Sun is the source of light. Source of light. How things become visible, you should note down here. Actually the reflected rays enter into our eyes. Then when it enters into our eyes, an image formation takes place on the screen of the retina, where there is a perception. Then this message is carrying to the brain. There is optic nerves, mixed nerve, motor neuron, and sensory neuron. Then after processing by the brain, it is informed back what you have watched in the surrounding. And there is also the color determination, color perception, what color this object is of. Then with the help of diagram, which is also mentioned in our textbook, this. Now I'm going to tell you here some basic terms regarding the light. We have to study about the reflection of laws of reflection of light. Before we go to the laws of reflection of light, it is important to have some basic terms here. मतलब बेसिक टर्म्स पे आपको ध्यान देना है यहाँ देखिए. If I take here again say I take here the piece of, it is a, I will take a piece of mirror here. It is a mirror. Mirror is a reflector. It is a reflecting surface. There is a work of reflection of light. Mirror is the object. It is a mirror. Mirror reflect it has one surface, reflecting surface. एक surface इसका क्या होता है शब्द? Reflecting surface. तो mirror है. This is the, again I will take the example of the sun, major source of light here. The light rays coming, lot of light rays are coming here. The light rays are coming by the sun here. Say this ray of light is coming, and it is coming here and fall on this mirror here. It is a mirror, piece of mirror on the surface of mirror. What is this important term? Before we go to the reflection, laws of reflection, first you should notice the incident ray of light. Incident ray of light is that ray of light which always coming from by a source of light. That here is the sun. By the sun a light is coming. That means incident ray. It is a light ray comes from a source. ये एक रे ऑफ लाइट होती है जो हमेशा सोर्स से आती है. इसको कहा जाता है इंसिडेंट रे ऑफ लाइट. आफ्टर इट स्ट्राइक्स ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ ए रिफ्लेक्टिंग सरफेस पे किसी पॉइंट पे टकराती है, स्ट्राइक्स, हम उस पॉइंट को कहते हैं पॉइंट ऑफ इंसिडेंस. यू शुड नोट डाउन. देन सेकंड पॉइंट इज, इट इज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट. इंसिडेंट रे क्या होती है? इंसिडेंट रे ऑफ लाइट. इट इज अ रे ऑफ लाइट. It is a light ray comes from a source. Here the source is, I take the sun. Source can be any और भी source हो सकते. Incident point, incidence. यहाँ पे या incident point लिखो या point of incidence. Point of incidence. What do you mean by point of incidence? It is a position, it is a place where an incident ray of light actually strikes, actually meets. It's the point of incidence. I will here define this. This. Now, what is the point of incidence? A position. Yeah, or we simply call it a point. Where at an incident ray of light strikes जहाँ पे पड़ती है incident ray of light, a position, here a point where a incident ray strikes. Here this is the point of incidence where it strikes. Then this, what is this? This is a, sorry, this is the, then here what is this? This is the point of incidence. What is this? This is the incident ray of light. This is incident ray of light. It is the source of light. It is a mirror. Here I will write here the mirror, a reflecting surface which gives the reflection. Here what is then this is there. The next is the reflected ray of light. Reflected ray of light, I will tell you it here. Second is we can say second one is reflected ray of light. Here I will mention it here. Second, reflected ray. What is a reflected ray of light? It is a ray of light. Yes, it is a ray. It is a ray of light comes from the reflecting comes from the reflecting surface on striking when it strikes, after striking, there is coming back of ray of light. It is a ray of light comes from the reflecting surface. That means it is coming back, it is in the form of comeback, is known as the reflected ray of light. Here is the, I will show it here with the help of diagram. ये वो ray of light होती है which on striking के बाद ये reflect होती है, comes from the reflecting surface, comes from, it is bouncing back, it is coming back. Here is the incident ray of light that is coming back. Here this ray of light, this is, I will show, I must show with an arrow to clarify it. What is this? This is a reflected ray of light. After striking at the point of incidence, it is bounced back, it is returning back, it is reflecting back here by the reflecting surface. रिफ्लेक्टिंग सरफेस से ये वापस आती है, वहाँ से आती है, कहीं भी जा सकती, कहीं भी डायरेक्शन जा सकती. It is a reflected ray, and it is possible by the reflecting surface. Always there is a reflection of light rays by a reflecting surface. Now we have two types of reflection: regular reflection and irregular reflection. You should, in the laws of reflection, and there are some basic terms: incident ray of light, point of incidence is a point where the incident ray strikes. Here is the reflected ray. After the striking, after the point of when it meets at the point of incidence, then it is bounced back, it is returning back in another direction, along the same direction. It depends upon the angle it forms with the reflecting surface here. With an angle here, sometimes we draw a line, we draw an imagine line here between the, we draw an imagine line to define what another angles. Imaginary line होती है, that I will take the here the red marker here. Then I place here the line here. This is the line here. Actually, this is the normal. This is an imaginary line here known as the normal. This normal. It is here the third point I would like to mention. It is the second. Sorry, it was the third, and it is the fourth point. Normal. What is normal? It is an imaginary. ये हम draw imaginary line that can be drawn. That can be drawn perpendicular. ये perpendicular की symbol आपने पढ़ा होगा, perpendicular to the surface of mirror. What is the normal? This is the normal here. This point is the normal. It is the normal here. Normal and or. ये एक imaginary line होती है जो perpendicular पड़ती है on the surface of the mirror पे perpendicular. तो वहाँ पे हमें दो angles मिलते हैं. We obtain two angles. This angle and this angle. This is angle R with the help of reflection. मैंने इससे पहले बताया. It is a reflected ray. It is incident ray, and this is normal. This is N. Here it strikes here. Say it is a point O. Here it is the ON is the normal. Here ON is the normal. तो इस चीज को आप देखिए, यहाँ पे हमें और एक चीज निकलता है. और एक चीज क्या निकलता है इसमें? हमें नॉर्मल ड्रॉ करने से we draw a normal, we draw imaginary line and perpendicular to the surface of the mirror. To the surface of the mirror we draw a line and perpendicular. I obtained the two angles, angle I, angle R, and angle R and angle I. तो मुझे दो angles मिले, angle R, angle I. What is the angle R? It is known as the angle of reflection. Angle of reflection. What is the second? This is the angle of what is this another? Then it is the angle of incidence. I obtain two angles because of the normal. I obtain the two angles, angle R and angle I. Angle R is the angle of reflection, angle I is the angle of incidence. Then we verify in the laws of reflection. Then it becomes the second law when we when there is a statement of the second law of reflection of light. This is the diagram before we go to laws, or before we state the laws of reflection. First law of reflection, second law of reflection. Important question in your examination. Then here the angle of reflection, here is the angle of incidence. Angle of reflection कैसे बना कि जो reflected ray of light है, reflected ray of light, इसने angle बनाया किसके साथ? It make an angle with respect to the normal, that is angle R. Then here is the normal, it make an angle, incident ray of light make an angle with the respect to the normal. Again here it makes here angle of incidence. Now I hope you clear all the basic terms regarding the basic terms regarding the light. This diagram, it is a ray diagram, it is a ray diagram, with the help of ray diagram we can explain the laws of reflection को हम explain कर सकते हैं. To the law, for the laws of reflection we take object plane mirror हम लेते हैं इस law को explain करने के लिए. We take the plane mirror. Now we are going to explain this thing. Here, what is the statement of the first law of reflection? It is a simple to explain, to have a statement, and we verify in experiment in the 10th class, in other classes, the verification of laws of reflection. First law क्या होता है? First law is simply the incident ray of light, the reflected ray of light, normal at the point of incidence lay on the same plane. देखो ये मेरा बोर्ड है, ये 2 डायमेंशनल प्लेन है. इस 2 डायमेंशनल प्लेन में ये बिल्कुल मैंने ये डायग्राम ड्रॉ की है. वो मीन्स इन अ 2 डायमेंशनल प्लेन I can draw this diagram. This is a statement that incident ray, reflected ray, normal at the point of incidence where it strikes, where the incident ray and reflected ray actually meet us. It is a reflecting surface here, the mirror. With the help of the mirror, smooth mirror, we can explain the smooth mirror, we can explain the laws of reflection. That means it states that the shabash incident ray comma reflected ray, shabash incident ray, reflected ray comma normal at the point of incidence lie on the same plane. Here is the 2-dimensional plane. 2-dimensional plane पे मैंने यहाँ पे easily diagram मुझे आई. यहाँ पे इंसिडेंट रे, कोई रे बाहर नहीं निकलता है, कोई रे 3-dimensional plane को जो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है, बाहर नहीं आ रहे. It accepts the 2-dimensional plane here. I can easily draw it on the sheet of paper that it states that incident ray or reflected ray or जो normal है, sorry I mistaken it here, normal at the point of incidence, important लिखना है, पर lie on the same plane. ये सारे प्लेन पे रहते हैं, एक सेम प्लेन पे रहते हैं और सेम प्लेन पे इजीली हम इनको ड्रॉ करते हैं. This ray travels along this plane and this ray of light travel along this plane, along the same plane. Normal can be also drawn on the same plane. Then point of incident is also on the same plane. This is the first law of reflection, the first statement, and it is verified by a plane mirror strip. Then is here the second law here, second law of reflection here in this second law of reflection. Second law of, what the second law of reflection statement is, it states that अभी मैंने कहा जो यहाँ पे एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस बनी विद रेस्पेक्ट टू नॉर्मल इंसिडेंट रे ने एंगल जो बना है एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, और जो रिफ्लेक्टेड इंसिडेंट और रिफ्लेक्टेड रे ने जो एंगल यहाँ पे बनाया विद द हेल्प ऑफ द नॉर्मल, हाँ, तो यहाँ पे जो एंगल बना एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन, तो यहाँ पे इट स्टेट्स दैट एंगल ऑफ incidence is always and should be always equal to the angle of Shabbat, to the angle of reflection. With the help of this diagram, and it might also in our examination, with the help of diagram explain the laws of reflection. It is a statement of second law of reflection that the angle of incidence I is always should be equal to the angle of reflection. That means angle I should always equal to the angle or angle or should be equal to the angle I, both cases. Hence there is a verification of the second law. We easily verify in a laboratory that एंगल आई को निकाला जाता है एंगल आर के बराबर. तो यहाँ पे विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ डायग्राम we can easily explain the second law of reflection with the help of the again reflecting surface as a mirror. That means it should be, if here I obtain the angle incident angle 45 degree, then angle 45 degree I, then it should be equal to the 45. There should be also angle of reflection also should be 40 degree. If you are obtaining this value, then second law is verified, then it is the obey of second law of reflection. It is all about the laws of reflection here. Now what is the if you have two types of reflection here, reflection, you have two types of reflection. एक तो होता है regular reflection, second one is शाबाश irregular शाबाश reflection. आपके पास दो तरह के reflections है, एक तो regular type of reflection, दूसरा है irregular, या sometimes we name it the diffused reflection. दो नाम है इसके, या regular reflection and second is another is the diffused reflection. You obtain the regular type of reflection by the polished smooth mirror. You can obtain this diffused irregular by when there is unpolished या partly polished unpolished rough या bumpered surface, bumpered reflecting surface. You can take here example of the here ground glass. You can take here the curved glass में example हो गए curved glass. You can take example of the curved glass. Here you can take the example of here the polished smooth mirror, reflecting mirror जो आपको dressing mirror है वो ले सकते हो आप इसके example में, if you have a regular type of reflection. Here I will take the example of, I will take the diagram. With the help of the diagram I am going to tell you that